Okay.
and you don't know who you're inspiring by being you.
Beautiful. That is such a beautiful quote. You don't know who you are inspiring just by being you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soulfulness of Life podcast. I am your host, Soul Coach Jazara. And this podcast is all about soul conversations on life purpose and living a life of miracles or a life of peace, joy, and abundance. It's perfect because today I have with me as a guest a lady whose mantra is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Doesn't that just sound so wonderful? My guest for today's Soul Conversation is an international access consciousness, well, that's a mouthful, international access consciousness facilitator, a Filipina who is a Canadian citizen. She grew up in Canada, but she is currently based in Lebanon. And she is an energy healer, an author, and an empowerment coach. I believe I found her because we are like minded. We are both true seekers and light workers, for people who try to bring light wherever we go and to raise the level of consciousness. So, without further ado, join me in welcoming my guest for today, Miss Junalyn Banez Muzi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So, welcome, Junalyn.
Hi, Coach Jazara. Welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, you did. Junalyn Banez Musi. That's right. I'm so happy
Perfect.
to be here with you today.
Thank you, Junelin, for making time. She is currently in Alberta, Canada. And usually I begin by asking my guests, the backstory. How who was Junalyn before you became, an access consciousness international facilitator. I'm sure it took a while for you because you're a seeker, to search and get to where you are right now, which I believe is your life purpose. So maybe share about, where how what led you to where you are today, and who were you before and who are you now?
Well, we will need more than 1 hour for that.
I'm sure.
I actually wrote
Yes.
a book about it. I have a book that I wrote somehow.
Oh,
Yes, and it's called Dating for Expats. It's about it's a relationship book. Anyway, we will talk about.
wow.
Yes, I wrote it in 4 years ago.
I think I'm
So
interested to read that.
yeah,
Great.
yes, I will share the link. It's in Amazon. It's on Amazon. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Coach Gisara, for this wonderful opportunity to be on your podcast. I am so excited to share and to hopefully inspire people. Whatever I'm creating in the world. And so you asked me, what was I doing, who was I before what I'm doing now? So first of all, right now I am a life coach, empowerment coach. I'm also an access consciousness facilitator, and access consciousness is actually a body of work, an organization based in America, and it's also a body of work that is like full of tools, classes, programs, energy work, body work, actual body work, personal development classes, all of that. If you look it up on the website, it's called Access Consciousness, and there's a whole range of things that you can learn from that. I have been doing that for the last 10 years. Actually, I've been facilitating access consciousness classes all over the world, not just Canada and Lebanon. I do travel.
Mm.
Yeah. So, Lebanon, like you said, I was born in the Philippines. I grew up in Canada, and I left in 1998 to seek. I left in 1998 to seek. I used to be many things before becoming a life coach. Um, Before becoming a life coach, let's say, I don't know, 12 or 15 years ago now, I used to be also a teacher. I used to teach
Mm.
English. Yes, I used to teach English to non-native speakers. So this is why I left Canada in, I don't know, 1998. I actually taught English abroad, starting with Mexico and then Japan and then Oman. and now I live in Lebanon as a coach, and I happen to have married a Lebanese, so that's where I'm there. Of course, before that, I was also into sales. I was in retail. I was
Mm.
many things. I was many things, and I have a lot of interest. And one thing I know for sure is like I really like helping people in whatever capacity that looked like. I wanted to live in different cultures. I wanted
Mm.
to understand people and what like with this world, this earth is so vast, and I wanted to experience every culture. This has always been my dream as a child. I never limited myself. I'm an infinite being, and I wanted to really live the adventure of life. And so,
Mm.
and actually, my mother calls me very, very adventurous. I've always been interested in children's education, and that's why I was a teacher. So
Mhm.
I did a lot of global education work in Asia when I was teaching in Japan. I lived in Japan for
Mhm.
10 years, and so I did a lot of work with global education in Japan,
Mhm.
and also volunteering and doing humanitarian work in Southeast Asia. So because of that I always had this interest in helping,
Mm.
in in inspiring actually young people so that they create a better world for themselves, because
Mhm.
I was like that as a child. I also always dreamt, and I knew that dreams come true. And with that exploration came, of course, the what we're calling the seeking, my purpose, meaning, basically. What is your meaning? What is the reason you get up in the morning? What is your inspiration? And so I wasn't perfect. Who is perfect? And perfection is actually a judgment. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly on this um, evolution every day, every moment of our lives. Now I know that. At that time I didn't know that. I judged myself for not finding my purpose at that time. But in fact, what if actually the purpose of life is just to enjoy it and to have fun? Not some
Just
deep.
be.
Yes, not
Mm.
just be yourself, and just like not deep purpose of like, oh my God, I want to save the world. No, you can
Yeah.
only save yourself. If you save yourself and you let go of your judgments of yourself, you are already saving the world. It starts with you. This I discovered over the years.
Mhm. We're already giving you the shortcut. You don't need to go through all that. But it's part of the journey. Listening to you, it looks like you've lived many lives, Junalyn. Right?
Past
It
lives, yes.
seems like, yeah, it seems like it, so many different lives. And of course, I think right now is, this is really something you're already doing consistently. And the common theme I hear is really you are an explorer, really, at heart, and you love to teach, and it's I guess a common theme, and you go where you're needed, as you said, to serve. And it may be different fields, different places, but I
Hmm.
think that is the common theme. And because that is who you are, as you mentioned, you're just allowing yourself to be who you are, expressing who you are. And I'm really interested to find out, because this is really what you're doing now. You're really so focused on this, and trying to teach this to others. How did you end up being an access consciousness facilitator?
Well, actually, because after teaching, I transitioned into coaching. So
Mm.
I transitioned into life coaching, I don't know, 15 years ago. So as a life coach, I was always learning new things, new techniques, new modality, whatever I thought could add to my toolbox, to help.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was, my husband also was actually like that. My husband was my peer mentor when I was going into coaching school. So he's also a life coach. And so we were
Mm.
both always seeking new things to learn, like we were both trained in many things, from NVC, nonviolent communication, to theta healing, which is another modality,
Yes.
uh, to NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I've probably done a lot of these things already, even
Yes.
astrology, even yoga. I was a yoga teacher, and meditation and all of that. And then um I discovered that although a lot of these things are very useful in helping people, it's not fast enough. It's not fast and as dynamic.
Mm.
And in the energy of seeking, access consciousness showed up in my life in the form of a fellow colleague in another technique or modality I was learning and teaching at that time, talked about access bars, which is actually part of access consciousness. And access bars are is an energy work which is actually about touching lightly 32 points in the head which are related to the limitations of your life. And when I heard that, I said, "Wow, this is actually what I've been working on with clients and with students. It's like how to get go of your quote unquote limiting beliefs, because people actually have have decided they have blocks, have decided they have limiting beliefs. If you actually say that you do, then you do. Now with the third
Mm.
with the access bars, and I discovered that I became interested in access bars, and to actually get a session first, I wanted to experience it. Nobody was doing it in Lebanon at that time. So I actually, when I came to Canada, I saw somebody, an Access Bars practitioner, and got a session. And I received a session, and nothing really changed in a session, because an Access Bar session is you lie down and somebody touches your head. Okay. So I thought, okay, nothing happened. But some months later, my husband noticed that something has changed in me.
Mm.
Some about my energy, my confidence level, the way I stepped up, the way I spoke up. Something changed, he said, and immediately I attributed it to the Access Bar sessions. I don't know, or all the other things I was doing, and so I did that, and I was like, interested to study it. Access bars. What is access bars? And nobody was doing it in Lebanon, and so we decided to. We, meaning my husband and I, because he wanted to learn it as well, because he saw the changes in me, and we found somebody who was teaching it in France who was American, and so I took the class, and the teacher invited me to become the first facilitator in Lebanon. She goes, "Nobody's doing it in the Middle East. Would you like to facilitate this technique?" And then the rest is history. And so
Oh.
I became an advanced trainer after becoming an Access Bars facilitator. I became a certified facilitator, meaning I teach more than Access Bars. I teach all the other advanced classes um, that are beyond Access Bars, which are personal development classes. And I also teach a lot of other online classes related to Access Consciousness as a
Mhm.
body of work. So that's how I came into it. And I discovered with Access Bars and the tools of Access Consciousness that change is much more faster and dynamic with clients and with students and with myself. So I mean, it started with me, and I discovered how fast it is. It doesn't have to be difficult to change. You just choose it, you ask a question, and you just change immediately.
Mhm. Maybe for the viewers who aren't able to access yet, go to have an access bar session, or any of the courses. Maybe is there something you can share about access consciousness tools, the principles of access consciousness they are able to apply in their lives?
To share with you the tool, uh, a tool or two of Access Consciousness that's really creating magic, that creates
Yeah.
magic. Yes, and the
Wow.
first to create magic and change. So the first
Mhm.
one, you already mentioned it, and you love it actually. The mantra of
Yes.
Access that goes something like this: All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And
Mhm.
actually, if you look at the Access Consciousness website, that is their mantra, and that is sort of the tagline. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Um, if you say this 10 times in the morning, or 10 times and 10 times at night, for the next month, okay, let's say for the next month, see what changes in your energy, see what changes in your day.
Mhm.
Because what this mantra is about, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory, is that no matter what's going on outside in this reality, okay, there's a lot of drama and trauma already, that
Mhm.
everything, including the good, the bad, and the ugly, can come to you with ease, with joy,
Mhm.
glory. That you are not at the effect of whatever's going on. Okay,
Mhm.
it's like okay, well, I realize it's not being a doormat either. It's just like, okay, well, I recognize this is happening. Something is not going on the way I want it, or something is this, the situation in the country or whatever, wherever you are in the world, or
Mhm.
in your family, yet you're not at the effect of it. And if you keep saying it, all of life comes to me, because all of life, no matter what, can still come to you with ease, with joy and glory as the exuberant expression of life, the exuberant
Mhm.
expression of life. So let's say it together, coach, together 10 times, shall we?
Yes.
All
10
right,
times. Okay.
say it like you mean it.
Yeah, actually, when you just said it, I could already feel the shift in the energy, right?
Yeah,
Imagine, because it really goes against what we're programmed to think, which is all of life comes to me with ease. We always think life is hard, that's the default thinking. Joy, we feel like joy is only something that is hard to reach, right? And
yeah,
it's not constant, but this one
yes,
is like it's always joy, and then it's always glorious. So it feels like you always have to work so hard to attain that joy and glory, but this one is like, no, all of life in whatever shape or form,
that's right.
wherever you are. Yeah, so anyway.
Say it together, coach. Joanna?
Yes, let's do it
Yeah,
10 times.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right. One, two, three. All of life
All
comes to
of
me
life comes to me with
with
ease,
ease,
joy,
joy, and glory.
and glory.
All of
All
life
of
comes to
life
me
comes with
with ease,
ease, joy,
joy,
and
and
glory.
glory. All of
All
life
of
comes to
life
me
comes to me
with
with
ease, joy,
ease,
and
joy,
glory.
and glory.
All of life
All of
comes to
life
me
comes to me
with
with
ease,
ease,
joy,
joy,
and
glory.
glory. All of life comes to me,
Comes to me
ease,
with
joy,
ease,
and
joy,
glory.
and glory.
All of
All
life comes to
life
me
comes to me
with
with
ease,
ease,
joy,
joy, and glory.
and glory. All of life
All
comes to
life
me
comes to me
with
with ease,
joy
joy.
and glory. All of life
All of
comes to
life
me
comes to me
with
with
ease,
ease,
joy,
joy,
and
and glory.
glory. Two more. All of life
All of
comes to
life
me
comes to me
ease,
with ease,
joy, and
joy, and glory.
last
And
one. All of life comes to me
comes to
with
me with
ease,
ease,
joy,
joy,
and
and
glory.
glory. So be it.
Yes, and yeah, you can say it anytime. Actually, it doesn't have to be just what I said in the morning, at night, at any time during the day. I say it when I'm driving.
Yeah. And I like your story. So, okay, when you go to Junalin's Instagram page, she talks about during the pandemic, where and in Lebanon it was really the height of, was it during the pandemic, right? When that happened, where um like the government took your money and
That was
everything.
before, even before. That
Oh,
was
it
in
was even
29. Yeah,
before.
that was that's why we had a revolution in Lebanon in
Oh, okay.
2019. Yeah, that's
So
why
that was a
people revolted.
revolution.
Yeah, that's why people revolted, because the government did all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the pandemic, right? And then the
So
port
yeah.
explosion.
That was revolution followed by the pandemic, was it? Is it
Yes,
like back to back? Okay, so
yeah,
that's, can you just imagine
and port
that is
explosion.
that was where she was in the middle of a revolution and pandemic lockdowns, and yet she was able to thrive actually and continue to teach, right? And create, and that was her daily, the mantra was really, how you created your reality, right? How, yeah.
Thank you for that. Yes, that's true. So because what I like, I believe in, never give up, never give in, never quit. So no matter what, right? No matter
Mm,
what, do not be at the effect of the situation or the reality around you. If
mhm,
you do that, you're just actually invalidating yourself, so if you find that your government is more superior, or the situation in your country is, you're not, oh, this is what's going on, you are just making yourself, you're diminishing yourself.
mhm,
We are capable of creating our own reality. We don't have to buy this particular reality. And one of the classes I actually teach in Access Consciousness is called Right Voice for You, as well as Being You classes. And Right Voice for You is an invitation to stepping up, stepping out, and becoming more of you, and really without the judgment of you, a full
Mm-hmm.
expression. It's not about necessarily your voice, although your voice will change also. And this particular class I did facilitate in Manila, and it was one of the most incredible experiences. Yeah, and I'm really like I'm very happy to travel the world. I'm open to collaborating with all these classes because I know they are changing people's lives dynamically and fast. Of all the things that I've done, and I appreciate everything that I've learned. I apply them all, and however, in my point of view, access consciousness is really fast and dynamic, and it creates changes faster.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because for fellow coaches, right? I mean during difficult times, coaches probably tend to think that, oh no, nobody will sign up, right? Especially, I mean, wow, imagine how did you fight the usual thinking that in a revolution, amidst a revolution of pandemic lockdowns, you would still be able to get clients, right? I guess the natural thinking was, oh no, business will slow down. People will want to take care of the priority needs, not really go for higher consciousness classes. So yeah.
Your point of view creates your reality. Okay, this is actually one of the things that access consciousness has inspired me to know more, or I already knew that, but actually your point of view creates your reality. So if I bought the reality that in a revolution nobody's going to pay for my classes, nobody can afford it, then guess what?
Mm-hmm.
That is the creation, that's the reality I would have. I would just
Mm-hmm.
in sync with everybody's point of view. It's a collective consciousness. You become part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
what if the opposite is also true, right? What if actually, you know, I mean, I just put it out there. I put it out there. I don't have a point of view who can afford it, who cannot, who can come and who will not. I
Mm-hmm.
invite people. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
classes don't happen for whatever reason. For some classes, some workshops don't happen for whatever reason. And I've
Mm-hmm.
learned to find a reason and justification for why things don't happen, right? So it's actually just a choice. People choose it or not for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. I'm not going when we have, so what we are calling a presumptive reality. You cannot afford it. Nobody's gonna come because this is what's going on in the country. Guess what? You already have a presumption that that is the reality, and with that
Mm-hmm.
presumption, you have a reaction to that presumption. It's a presumptive reality with a need for a reactive reality because you assume it as is. But we
Mm-hmm.
can change it and say, oh, but guess what? I'm gonna put it out there anyway. I wonder who's gonna show up. I wonder who will choose it, because guess what? There are always those people that no matter what also are seeking for what you are offering, whether regardless of money, regardless of time, regardless of situation in the country or their family. There's
Yeah.
always people like that in the world. Money is always an issue, and people make it an issue. Time is another issue that make a people make a big deal of, or sickness. They cannot,
Mm-hmm.
or their age, or
Yeah.
there's there's a reason and justification. But
Yeah.
I just allow people to choose what they would like to choose, and I don't
Yeah.
have, yeah, and I don't have a point of view about how it's going to show up.
Perfect. And they, yeah, and they won't, it's a disservice if you don't put your stuff out there as a coach or as a light worker, because you're not giving them a choice. There's nothing to choose if you, so because I
Yes,
know in this culture of how many likes do you have, how many subscribers, followers do you have, just keep putting yourself out there, the people who need you or who are looking for you will find you. And if they don't find you immediately, it may take some time. Just keep putting out your content there. Yeah. Okay.
and you don't know who you're inspiring by being you.
Beautiful. That is such a beautiful quote. You don't know who you are inspiring just by being you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because oftentimes we take on so many identities of other people, right?
Mhm.
We're not being our authentic self. And the best way you can inspire the world is just by being you. Because that is your natural gift. Okay, you did mention, I know I'm conscious of time because you have another
You
appointment,
have
but you
10,
said,
10 minutes
okay,
is okay.
two free, okay, guys, you got two freebies from Junelin. One is that very powerful mantra, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Just make it a constant thing that you say until it becomes part of you and see the changes in your life that happen, in a month's time. Okay, and
Energetically,
yeah.
something is just going to change. Do you want me to share another tool?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another gift. Okay, so you know how you sometimes we think that every thought, feeling, or emotion that we have about ourselves is ours, right?
Mm,
Or judgment that we have about ourselves is usually about ours. But what if that is not ours? Just because it's in our head or in our body doesn't mean it belongs to you. So
mm.
one question, and actually they're kind of the two tools in one, two in one. It's like a coffee. It's like Nescafe, two in one.
Okay.
One is like for every thought, feeling, and emotion, especially judgments of you. You wake up in the morning, you have a litany of judgment about your body, your face, your life, your past, your future. Okay, the question that you can ask is, who does this belong to?
Mm, mm, yeah.
Yeah, really. And then if you feel heavy, it's not yours because
Mm,
98.999% of your thoughts, feelings, emotions do not necessarily belong to you. You pick up the energy of other people from around you, from your country, from other country, from the news, from social media, whatever. Okay. So because you're watching it, so we are energetic beings. We pick up the energy of people. Notice when you go into a room, you're feeling great, you're feeling happy, or you're shopping. You want to shop at the mall and ready to shop. Suddenly you have a backache or a headache or I don't know what, or you're like, you don't feel good anymore. How much of
mhm,
that of the energy of the people that are working there that are not happy with their salary, or people that are window shopping there that don't think they have the money? So you picked up this kind of energy. So just it's just an example. And so whenever you feel like this, a thought, a feeling, or emotion you have, especially about you, you're judging yourself, you're judging your body, you're judging your life. Who does this belong to? If you feel
mhm,
happy, and it doesn't matter who it belongs to, you don't have to think who it belongs. Oh, my mother thought like this, or my church thinks like this. No, it doesn't matter who it belongs to because there's the point of creation of that thought. But if you feel heavy, just return it to sender, not mine, not my
mhm,
thought. Return to sender. Thank you very much. That's it.
mhm,
And notice how you will feel light, as like whenever you say, okay, I return to sender, this is not mine, and notice it's not actually yours. You might have unconsciously bought that particular point of view, but the bought that particular thought, that feeling, that emotion, that judgment, which is not your being. What did you It's not your nature to judge yourself, right?
mhm,
So that's one thing. And then the second part of the two in one is, who does it belong to? Is interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. So every thought, feeling, and emotion of you, every judgment that you have about yourself, like, interesting point of view. I have that point of view about myself.
mm,
Because
mm,
it's an interesting point of view. It doesn't have to be real, it doesn't have to be true.
mm, mhm. If that's a self-judgment, you mean? Yeah. When it's a
Or
self-judgment, yeah.
even, yes, it
Mm,
starts with you, with self-judgment, or even somebody else saying something to you, okay, that
mm,
you might resist
mm,
and react to, or align
mm,
and agree with. Okay, if I say, oh coach, why are you like this, you should be like that, and you're like, either you align, agree with that kind of judgment,
mm,
or comment. You're like, oh yeah, I know I'm like this. You align, agree, or you're like, no, I'm not like this, why are you saying that? You resist and
mm,
react. Either way, either energies, you get attached to it, right?
mm,
So,
mhm,
and then you store it in your body. Now it's stored in your reality, it's now in your nervous system. You start thinking about it, start becoming you. But instead of going there, you can ask the question, well, or not ask the question, who does this belong to? And interesting point of view, I have this point of view, or interesting point of view, she has that point of view. And if
mhm,
whenever you say this interesting point of view, they have this point of view, just to yourself, you don't have to say it out loud. It might sound sarcastic if you say it to another person. For
Yeah.
yourself, interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. She has this point of view. It's like everything just becomes interesting. You don't judge yourself. You don't judge others because every
Yeah.
point of view is just interesting, right? If you're looking at this cup from this point of view, you from literally from this point of view is different, and somebody's
Mm-hmm.
looking at it from this point of view from this side is different. Somebody looking
Yeah.
at it. So what if this is a point of view that is seen in different ways?
So
Yeah,
interesting, yeah, because
right.
it's just an observation, right? You're just like really observing. Yeah, you're not attaching to it. You're just observing it and observing it with interest and amusement, perhaps, right?
That's right.
Something,
That's
yeah,
good. And it's like, you're like a rock on a stream and you just let the
yeah,
water flow around you, over you, and you're like, okay, not that you're a doormat, not that you don't have an opinion. That's also a choice, but it's just an interesting point of view.
yeah.
And we go
That's
deeper
how we.
in many classes. Even your point of view about your reaction is interesting. And by the
Yes.
way, judgment is positive and negative. If I say you're beautiful, that's a positive judgment.
When you approach it with interesting point of view, it's really just keeping it open, and I'll just just going with the flow, allowing.
Like, my mom says something, okay, Janelle, you're lazy. You wake up so late, for example. When I was young, I used to react to that. I
Yeah.
react and and I do it more because I was rebelling. But
Mm,
nowadays, if somebody was to say that to me, or not just my mom, Janelle, you're lazy. It's like, okay,
mm,
well, that's an interesting point of view of my mother, or it's an interesting point of view. I have this point of view of me reacting to my mother. You know what I mean? It's like just an
mm,
interesting point of view. It doesn't mean
mm,
that's true. And it's just somebody else's point of view of you. Doesn't mean you
mm,
are. Unless
okay.
unless you claim that you are. It's your
Yeah,
choice.
unless it's something that you wanna take as good feedback also and work on. Yeah. But yeah,
So it's a
yeah.
choice. I could go on. I have many tools to share, but I could go on. We could do another part two. That was a two in one. So you would go in, so for every thought, feeling, and emotion, it's like, who does it belong to? And
Yes.
or interesting point of view. I have this point of view.
For me, it's really just always keeping grounded, right? So that we take care of ourselves first. Yeah. You cannot really you can't bring that healing if you don't, if you don't embody it.
Yeah, you can only inspire people by what you already inspired yourself in with.
Yeah.
So it starts with
Correct.
you. It starts with us.
Very, very, very useful tools. Thank you, Junalyn, for sharing.
I invite your listeners, your followers to start practicing this and then see what happens, what changes in your life.
Yeah.
And if you are looking for uh, a in-person live access bars class in your country, you can actually check out accessconsciousness.com. They have many, many, many facilitators all over the world giving all kinds of classes, and I'm one of them. So I travel the world, and I'm always open to being invited to your country, wherever you are. That's one of the things I love, is to actually share these beautiful tools that are changing many lives, including mine.
Where can people follow you, find you?
I have a website. It's www.junaline.com. How easy it is.
And
It's
your Instagram?
My Instagram is Life Inspired Junaline. That's where the party's happening there all the time. I have Insta Story, Instagram Lives, also Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. I do have free content a lot on Facebook, and right now, actually, in about 5 minutes, I do have a free um, 30 by 30 clearing group,
Mm,
and it's actually an access consciousness clearing, verbal
mm.
clearing. Oh, and my book, yes, my book is called Dating for Expats, the fabulous, the hot and single women's guide to finding love. And it's an ebook right now. It's on Amazon, so you can avail of it. I'm I'm
Yeah.
basically, yeah, everywhere.
And your broadcast channel on Instagram as well. I follow that. So there's a lot
Thank
of
you, Coach.
free stuff there also.
Thank you,
Thank you
Coach.
so much, Junelin. I know there are people who are waiting for you for your free clearing session. So thank you. Please do share this
I will.
your so that they can also learn more about your journey. Thank you, Junelin. Thank you
Thank you,
very
Coach
much.
Sarah. I am so honored. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Bye bye.